She was born and raised mostly in the Lake Chelan Valley. Her parents moved over to Queen Anne Hill for a year or two when she was a teenager, but mostly up there, which is where we were both born. She worked hard for what she had. She was a super generous, giving person, and she was one of those people, if she had something and she may not need it and she knew somebody else needed it, she would just give it to them, and unfortunately sometimes that actually got her in trouble where she was taken advantage of, but that still never stopped her from being that caring, giving person.
Growing up, it was just mom and us, and we lived with our grandma, so grandma watched us, mom worked to make sure that we had what we needed. So it all goes back to, she was there for us whenever we needed her, and she took care of us. So she loved her work. That's pretty much all she did. She'd get a phone call for them asking her to come into work, and she's like, yep, yeah, I'll come into work, not a problem. And so she'd work, for 14 days straight sometimes, and, then get a couple extra days off. So, it benefited her by doing that too, because then she'd have more time when, I've got 4 days. What do you kids want to do?
Where are we going?
Let's go on a road trip.
Back in the end of June, a coworker had found out they had contracted the virus and got a positive test. So everyone in the house, including clients, got tested. And that testing happened on a Saturday. Friday, and she got her negative results on Saturday. That following Monday is when she actually started coming down with symptoms. And from there, it just kind of all spiraled. It was the 29th of June that she came down with symptoms. By the 1st of July, she ended up in the ER getting checked out because she was having the trouble breathing. She was having chest pains and all of those things. It was kind of like this up and down roller coaster of like she was doing really good, and then she would kind of almost overdo it and then end up kind of sick again. And then Tuesday the 7th is when she got taken in and started her hospitalization.
And she was there until her passing?
She was, yes.
How were you able to manage contact with her? Because I assume you wanted to stay some distance and the hospital wouldn't let you in her room, correct?
Correct.
But due to what was going on, there was really no contact with my mom. I mean, there was a couple text messages for a couple of days, but other than that, that was about it.
We'd video chatted like a time or two between that positive test and when she was admitted. But for the most part, she was, again, that roller coaster of ill and feeling better. When she was better, we'd get to video and talk. Once she was hospitalized Tuesday night, the 7th, Wednesday morning, her lungs had started to fail. And so at that point, the doctors had talked to her and decided to intubate and put her on that ventilator. And at that point, she was sedated. So there was absolutely no contact from the 7th until the 15th when she passed.
At least with our mother, we got constant updates from the doctors every day to let us know how she was doing and, all that kind of stuff. But with mom, there was nothing from the morning of the 8th to the 15th.
Well, do you feel like there is something to be learned? I mean, what kind of message do you feel like you would want to impart to other folks whose family members might be in the same situation?
Being prepared for the unknown is kind of a big thing. For your family, make sure you are prepared for that instance of what if. My mom passed it so unexpectedly. She didn't have a will. She didn't have a power of attorney. She had nothing in place set for us. And it's, so much easier on the family having those end of life wishes, so that way your family is going to do the right things for you. Making sure you have medical documentation saying this is what I want in this instance, because that phone call at 6:20, hey, we've been doing CPR for 10 minutes. What do you want to do? Calling me as her daughter. That's not something a child should have to decide for their parent. So we had to make the decision on whether to continue CPR or let her go. And that's something I think that's going to live with us for the rest of our lives.
Well, it was 25 minutes.
Well, originally we were told 10, and then she's like, never mind, I recalculated, it's been 25. I mean, that tells you how determined that doctor was to try to bring her back. You know, not being able to say those goodbyes, not being able to do that while they're still alive is hard.